this item?
No.
All right.
17.
Moving on to item 17, possible action on new business commission follow-up and staff direction. I made a note when Chief Stafford Lair talked about his inland sport fish simplification holy grail endeavor, and this notion of using of supporting that. I think the commission staff would eagerly help support in any way it can, and whether or not some kind of a committee like a Wildlife Resources Committee, a companion piece to the Marine Resources Committee, which I think has been an excellent model for getting through some very difficult issues. If the commission's interested in volunteering to serve on something like that, we could then, if at appropriate time and if it's even needed, we could offer that venue to do some parts of your search for the Holy Grail of regulatory simplicity. So that was just something to consider, whether you're interested in creating that kind of a committee. And then as another piece of business, we forgot to mention when we addressed the squid issue is that the commission had earlier given the department approval to proceed with trying to close that 2-ton loophole in the squid fishery. And I think, Adriana, do you have something to share with us in terms of any updates on that?
No, well, we just needed clarification from commissioners. There are points on your agenda where it could have been brought up that either it's currently not on your rulemaking calendar that you adopted, and so if you would like to see it on the 2013 rulemaking calendar, we need some sort of direction from you there, and we can work with Marine Region staff to schedule that appropriately with workload. We just need to hear,
Commissioner Rogers.
Mr. President, I agree with schedule putting that on the rulemaking calendar. It is a loophole that needs to be addressed.
Right. And with the season, we'll work with the department to figure out how and when we get that done. Yes. The other item of unfinished business, I know since the Condor project, the lead ban for Condor, there's been interest on the commission to look at continuing the discussion about whether more needs to be done on lead ammunition. At I forgot which meeting, the acting president, Mr. Sutton, had requested I proceed with trying to put some kind of lead workshop planning process together, and I mentioned it earlier, but we are planning on having this on the February agenda and hopefully having a demonstration. And the idea is to schedule right around adjacent to that meeting some kind of a workshop to kind of update folks on the latest science on this whole issue and to slowly work our way back into that discussion if that's still the interest of the commission. That was the other item I wanted to bring to you for consideration if you want to continue that or not.
These are speaker cards.
Yeah, are there any speakers?
Just one. Last one today, George Osborne.
Right.
Representing the California Association for Recreational Fishing, the Mount Lassen Trout Farm, and Northwest Marine Technology. I've had discussions with Mr. Mastrop concerning this Wildlife Resources Committee and agree with him and support the concept of a Wildlife Resources Committee. What you guys have done on the Marine Resources Committee, hashing through some really tough issues, you get an opportunity, from what I've heard, to really talk candidly about these issues, come to consensus, and bring them to the full commission. There's a full raft of issues that are either quite contentious currently or could be at the department, would give us another venue within which to solve those, and hopefully to come to an agreement on some of those issues where we can, so that when we bring it to the commission, we already have two commissioners who know the policy matters intimately and have worked through, hopefully, a consensus settlement of that issue. And we would urge the commission to adopt that subcommittee, again, modeled after the Marine Resources Committee. Thank you.
Well, Mr. President, I can hardly argue with the success of the Marine Resources Committee, but Can you say a little bit, Mr. President or Sankey, about the plan to create this new committee and when that might take effect?
I just had to ask a question because you guys did this while I was hunting.
Oh.
I didn't even know what this
We
wildlife
make a lot of progress when we have
Yeah.
a few of us.
committee was.
Yeah.
The other thing is the relationship between the committee, the ad hoc committee that Mr. President Kellogg and I are supposed to be heading up, the Toxic Ammo Committee, and this new committee. Would we morph into that? Or?
That's a question, and there's actually several parts to this. One is, of course, there's only 3 of you here right now. We will be having a vacancy, potentially a replacement for Dan Richards' term expires in January, plus your uncertainty of whether you're going to be reappointed. One of the suggestions from staff is maybe we defer making decisions about committees and appointments to it until February, and also to explore and more clearly define the differences. One of the limiting resource here for these committees is staffing and commissioners. You guys are volunteers, you're very busy, your staff's limited, so we also don't want to overcommit ourselves. I think whether we continue on with this lead committee or fold it into a wildlife resources committee, that's up to you, and staff can look at it. I do think it's a model. The Marine Resources Committee is a model to replicate. One of the reasons it's successful is the commitment to them.
I disagree. Because Commissioner Sutton can't be on the Marine Resources Committee where he does a great job, and on the Wildlife Resources Committee, whatever that is. And I want him on the lead, 2-man lead committee with me.
All right.
Because
Okay.
we just need to be there.
All right.
That's it.
Mr. President,
If I may, you already had your shot. If I may.
Because I'm afraid if I wasn't on that committee, what was going to happen?
No, absolutely. I completely agree with your thought and your sentiment behind that thought. I believe that this commission would and the department and the resources, and the guys who use the resources terrestrially, would enormously benefit from the establishment of a WRC. This MRC really works well. I mean, it genuinely works well. Everybody gets to comment. Everyone feels heard. They may not get what they want all the time on all sides of it, but it's a very dynamic, very robust model. In fact, it's in all of my history of being on boards and commissions for the state, it is the single most robust model I've ever seen for solving problems. I would love to see us establish that on the terrestrial side. I myself wouldn't want to sit on it because I don't view myself as qualified.
Well, you'd have to get off the Marine Committee.
Yeah, here was my point. My point is that the WRC should have 2 different commissioners than the MRC, and in that manner we can develop marine specialties and terrestrial specialties, and the guys and gals who are on those committees can become the experts that is necessary to vet a lot of ideas, bring the ideas to the full commission so that we can all judge them. And I think that has worked very well. Sankey brings up the glitch. There's a glitch. The reason, besides the immense brilliance of Commissioner Sutton and myself, the reason that the MRC works is Dr. Schumann. We have significant staff support because it is a very complicated thing. It takes days out of his week to do this. Well, what this means is that if we go WRC on the terrestrial side of things, and in that regard, I would see us keeping the Al Tauscher as the sporting opportunity committee that it is, that is designed to be. I would submit that we need a staff position in order to do this properly. I think that our commission would be just delighted once this was installed and operating, and we would see a significant increase in the efficacy of the throughput that we get here.
Mr. President,
Commissioner Sutton.
just to agree with everything Richard has said, I do think the two really essential ingredients for a successful committee that we've seen with the MRC is the strong commitment of the co-chairs to go to the meetings, get stuck in and engaged with the issues at a much deeper level than we ordinarily do at commission meetings. And then the other essential ingredient is staffing. You've got to have dedicated staff. Our Marine Resource Committee meetings became a lot more effective when Dr. Schumann was persuaded to join us, and they have remained so. We would accomplish half of what we did if he wasn't here. So in his relationship with the department and with the commissioners, and he's kind of that glue that helps connect everything. So if we can find a way to replicate those things, I think that would be great. And I'm all in favor of a wildlife committee, whether or not I have the pleasure to serve on it or not.
Mr. President,
I don't mean to laugh, but this is pretty flowery stuff coming from the two commissioners that sit on that commission. And I think it'd be better coming from me or Craig. But you guys are doing a great job. The Marine Resources Committee is doing an awesome job, but just sounds better coming from one of the others of us. But I agree with you. If we can make this, what do you call that, Wildlife Resources Committee? I'm not going to miss any more meetings. I'll tell you that right now. And you got no telling what the next committee they set up going to be when I'm gone.
No, nobody's set up a thing. You're here and you've got a vote.
So, but I agree with you. I mean, we at some point after it gets established and we get the means to do it, we will find somebody like you have on a Marine Resources Committee to help us out, and hopefully it can be just as successful.
Well,
thank
you for those comments, because I really do think it would work. But it does depend upon something that you just commented on, that you don't want to miss any more meetings. Well, we don't want the rest of the commissioners to miss any more meetings either. What it means is that we're going to need 5 people here who are genuinely dedicated to what we're doing here.
That being said, I just want to, for the record, one of the commissioners that's not here today is in the hospital.
Absolutely. There was a very good reason as to why one of the commissioners is not here.
I don't want it.
I did not mean in any way to impugn him. He's battling a rather serious issue.
When the president was absent, didn't we set up a robo-duck committee as well?
Yeah, and I do, reflecting on President Kellogg's, out of respect and the importance of this, I think because Jack couldn't make this meeting, we probably should defer any further action on this until the February meeting, and hopefully he's better.
And I think it's right. We need to wait till February. We're going to have a change in the guard and all the rest, and hopefully commissioners in place. So let's see.
Yeah, I think so. One final comment is, in the spirit of looking for some solutions here, we'll be looking for public-private partnerships. That's how we started the MRC progress, is when we finagled some funding and got Schumann, and eventually became permanent. So I'll start looking for a similar kind of resource opportunity to build capacity to address these issues that everybody wants to participate in helping solve, which I think is a great thing. That's true democracy. So I think we've beaten that item to death, which allows us to move to 18, announcement of future meetings. Only thing I have to say myself on this is we are having a little trouble securing a location in Truckee because of pricing issues. State rates apparently hard to come by in Truckee in June, and Long Beach apparently is sold out.